Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in this episode of The Hypnotist, you're going to be listening to a hypnosis session based on the barriers and restrictions we give ourselves. Not consciously, but a lot of people feel that they're not able to live the life that they would want to live based on certain restrictions. And a lot of these restrictions are built on conditioned belief systems or value judgments about what we are allowed to do, what we should do, and all these kind of things. And I was working with someone who was about to make a very big decision. And their mindset coming into this big decision is that whatever they decide is going to end up being bad for them. And there's a false premise there because they're going into a big decision from the outset of not believing that they can either choose exactly what they want or to reconcile that if they can't get exactly what they want or close to it, that they can still live their life on their terms and have the complete freedom of making their own choices. So turning a lose-lose situation to a win-win situation. And the win-win is that if you're good with either outcome in a negotiation, it gives you a lot of strength. And there are some people that think entirely the opposite way, that whatever situation they're in, they're focused on the negatives. And I like to look at these things through the lens of there's always benefits in almost any situation. So if you don't have a lot, then you've got this attitude of you've got nothing to lose. And if you have got a lot, then you can say, well, you've built a fortress of resources. So there are ways of looking at almost anything through that kind of useful lens. I don't really look at positive thinking or negative thinking, more useful thinking. And it's not useful to think that you've got limited choices or limited options. The metaphor used in this particular hypnosis session uses the idea of a wolf. And a wolf is naturally a wild creature. If you try and domesticate a wolf, it's no longer a wolf, really. And it uses a metaphor of chains. But the chains here in this particular hypnosis session represent the expectations of others, which we can sometimes borrow and feel like they're our own expectations. And then it creates this kind of dynamic of having to choose to either be the free wolf or the chained wolf. And if the chained wolf experience isn't desirable, then why would you choose that? So it's quite metaphorical. I would say if you're listening to this to get the most out of this session, think about the question, if you could have life exactly as you want it, what would that be like for you? And the second question is, what stops you from having that life? And if there are certain expectations about who you are or your role or those kind of things, think of those expectations as the chains in this particular metaphor to enable you to join up the dots and feel that you can have clarity of a choice. And perhaps even ask yourself the question, what stops you from building a life exactly as you would want it to be? And that's a pretty good question to ask. So find a quite comfortable place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. take a deep breath in. As you breathe in a resourceful feeling of calm and relaxation. And on the outward breath, just allow your eyelids to close. And as they close, become even more aware of the speed of your breathing. Notice perhaps the sensation of air going through your nostrils, your chest rising, perhaps movement in your diaphragm. As you exhale, feel a sense of relief and release, as perhaps emotions you've been holding on to feel like they're leaving your body in that outward breath. As you breathe in and breathe out, scan your body for any clues of tension. Maybe a muscle is tense. Maybe tightness. Holding on to an expression that isn't needed. As you breathe in that resourceful feeling of relaxation with a warmth that melts away tension. Feel the tension melting away, and as it melts away, feel that dissipated energy of tension leaving your body in that outward breath. Breathing in, breathing out. I want you to picture a helium balloon being held by a child. See the effortless way that balloon just elevates, light, floaty. And start to imagine what your head would feel like in that floaty way. And as you imagine your head being effortlessly held, notice the tension leave your neck and your shoulders, noticing how it's easier to breathe in and breathe out, to feel a wonderful feeling of drowsiness, of relaxation. Perhaps you can remember the very best yawn you ever had. And even the idea of a yawn enables your mind to release powerful sensations, hormones like oxytocin, reducing the amount of cortisol in your blood. As you feel how good it would feel to yawn just in your imagination. That's it. As you breathe in and breathe out, acknowledge the idea that the deeper you breathe, the deeper relaxed you become. And the deeper relaxed you become, the more your imagination awakens. And I wonder what would happen if you imagine being somewhere entirely different. I want you to imagine what it would feel like to stare into a giant tapestry of the world. I want you to imagine the brightness of the colors, how different fabrics and materials are used to represent different continents and countries, the colors of the oceans, the Arctic, the Antarctic. Maybe greens represent forests, and yellows and oranges represent deserts. I want you to imagine staring into some green in this tapestry of the world. The green represents nature. And as you stare into the greenness, imagine an animal living in the nature in that part of the world. Specifically, I want you to imagine a wolf. I want you to imagine a wolf chained chained up, perhaps in a small town or a village, there in the forest. I want you to get a sense that it is the nature of the wolf to be free. But through circumstances, the wolf has found that it is chained. Breathe in and breathe out, and imagine you're witnessing a chained wolf. I want you to make the evaluation that the emotions of that wolf are not a reflection of their potential or their nature. They are a reflection of the circumstances. I want you to imagine the wolf is hearing howls of other wolves there in the forest, but can't leave because of the chains. I want you to get a sense that the wolf is actually very well fed, gets food whenever it needs it, and the wolf isn't chained outside, but under shelter. The free wolves in the forest occasionally shiver in the cold, but this wolf has heat, food, and shelter, but not freedom. Breathe in and breathe out, and imagine how it would feel to be the wolf. Imagine staring down and seeing your paws, feeling the ability to wag a tail, to notice you're breathing differently, feel the teeth in your jaw, feel the ability to appreciate the sensation of the fur on your skin. And in this moment, even though you're chained, I want you to feel a sense of acceptance. You've got used to these limitations because they've always been there. Maybe you were a puppy when you were stolen, chained up, and this is all you know. But I want you to imagine you're a wolf that is dreaming of freedom, dreaming of being able to run through the forests, to swim in the rivers, to explore, to meet other wolves, to live life. Security and freedom are different ends of the pendulum swinging. And sometimes we value security and sometimes we value freedom. But the chains aren't security. They're slavery. And all too often we confuse security with slavery. Sometimes we think these things that are there to protect us might actually be imprisoning us. I want you to get a sense that if you were this chained wolf that was let off the chain for a week or so to explore the forest, would you voluntarily choose to be chained again? Breathe in and breathe out and feel a sense that if you're not willing to tolerate the chains, there is a responsibility to imagine a life without them. I want you to imagine no longer as a wolf, but as you in your reality. If you had a magic wand and you could make things exactly as you want them to be, what would that look like? How would you know? What would you be able to do differently? And perhaps, with that magic wand, you would keep the things you already value and add things that enrich the quality of your life. Maybe the freedom to choose how you spend time, maybe the freedom to do different things. Maybe balance is somehow shifted from how it was in the past. I want you to imagine visiting that future like you're a spectator, seeing life exactly as you would want it to be within a relationship. How are conversations? How is the balance of responsibilities? What does fun look like in that relationship? What does parenting look like in that relationship? I want you to imagine if you had a magic wand, you wouldn't hold back. You would make it exactly as you want it to be. And I want you to imagine this future is not guaranteed. What is guaranteed is that you don't get it unless you ask for it and push for it. It doesn't happen by itself. I want you to imagine you are unleashing and unlocking all of the resources necessary: confidence, a sense of assertiveness, clarity, strong, clear energy, to be willing to ask for exactly what you want, but also feel a freedom, a willingness to walk away from anything not close. And perhaps that is the true price of freedom. The responsibility to deal with consequences. Breathe in and breathe out and feel empowered. Empowered to ask for exactly what you want, or feel empowered to live life on your terms if other people can't meet you where you need them to. Just as you've observed one future, I want you to imagine observing a different future, where life as you want it to be isn't possible. So see yourself with the courage, strength, all of the resources necessary to build a new life on your terms. Perhaps this new life requires an evolution, new ways of thinking, new ways of being. I want you to imagine the one thing you know that you don't want is to be a wolf chained up. You're happy to be the wolf in the wild, perhaps within the confines of a structure of your choosing. But if life needs you to be the lone wolf, I want you to feel that is not a curse, that is a blessing. Feel that you would be and could be able to make the very best of any circumstances. Feel that you're back there, being that chained up wolf, as you accept the suggestion that the chains aren't real and never were. These are the shoulds all of these value judgments, societal expectations. This is the chains of guilt, shame, and expectation. I want you to feel that your ability to break the chains is just acknowledging that these chains are never real unless you make them real. Feel like you're the wolf with the chains, and as you pull away, make the decision to live life based on what you want, not what other people think you should be like. And if you're ready to make that choice, feel that you can pull away until the chains shatter into a million pieces. And when they do, let me know by nodding your head. And you can choose to be in a relationship of your choosing, or you could choose to be the free wolf in the wild. The one thing you're not choosing is to remain chained anymore. Breathe in and breathe out and feel a sense of clarity, a sense of courage, a sense of optimism, a feeling that you can negotiate for exactly what you want because you're willing to forge your own path, which perhaps at some level could make for a more interesting adventure. Whatever happens, you're winning because you're choosing. You're choosing to raise your standards. You're choosing to break free of the chains of expectation, guilt, and shame. You're choosing to live life on your terms. And that feels hugely desirable. Breathing in and breathing out, feel like you're returning to the present with a sense of clarity. Breathe in through your nose and out through your nose. Wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. Connect fully with the present moment. As very shortly I count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. You will awaken feeling resourceful, confident, willing to do whatever is necessary to live the life of freedom and choice. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.